Monday morning, everybody. So, welcome to Monday Morning Live. Let's get a little check of everything here. Let's make sure our audio's good. Hello, hello, hello. Can we hear? Do we have liftoff? We have liftoff. So, we do have some folks in the house. Good morning, Dr. ELO, my friend. Good morning. Yes, live streaming, dude. Love it. Welcome to Monday Morning Live. So, it is early here in the States here. It is 6:12 on the East Coast if you're checking us out. Very early for those who are watching on the West Coast, but those for across the pond, it's a good time to catch in. This is the whole purpose behind doing this. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching, do appreciate it. If you are, drop a comment down below, a like, a yes, a hello. So we got Miss Vanessa Ashworth turning in across the pond. These ladies have a live stream themselves here in a little bit, so I knew they're tuning in. So yes, 11 a.m. There you go, the UK checking us out. Awesome. Appreciate you so much for stopping in. So we're going to talk about something that I've been wanting to share for a little bit, but before we do, really quickly, if you would love to check out a few words from our sponsors, you can also check us out over at the Pirate Syndicate. So we are working to build out how to help you become better live streamers. So if you check us out over at the piratesyndicate.com, um, you will find a lot of material, courses, things that you can sign up, workshops that we're putting together to help you elevate your live stream game. We are also developing, me and my buddy Russ Johns are developing a program where we will start evaluating people's streams so we can give them tips and tools how to make their live streams even better. So thank you so much for checking us out there. Thank you. Happy Monday, everybody. So you can check us out over there at the piratesyndicate.com. You will be able to check out what we're doing over there. And let me pull it up real quick, see if we have it in here. Do we? Yes, we there. So there it is, guys. The piratesyndicate.com, your live streaming and content production solution. So reach out to me or Russ Johns. We can help you get started in your live streaming journey. So, guys, if you have a question, you can drop it down in the comments. I will try to answer them as we go along for this show today. And want to get started very quickly with letting you guys know. And yes, still need to learn a lot about live streaming? Well, that is what this is all about. I'm about to give you a few of my secrets on whether or not how to live stream or not. So, for those who are barely just learning about me or getting used to familiar what I do, I am a LinkedIn live streaming expert. I've been on this platform now for 2 years. I've done over 350 plus episodes and counting. My purpose is to help educate and evaluate and elevate all live streamers who want to come in here on the platform and learn how to become even better at what we do here. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about again today was whether or not you want to learn how to DIY, which is, of course, do it yourself live streaming, which is there is nothing wrong, or when you feel you've reached that level that you need to hire a professional. So when you learn how to live stream in the beginning, most of the times it is going to be the route of DIY. So you're probably going to have to learn how to navigate through either the old school way of YouTube University, or you can actually find individuals like me, Russ, and there are a few others out there like us who help educate people on how to do live streaming on their own. So very quickly before we get started, I wanted to also mention that as we're developing more and more coursework and stuff like that, we are going to have, again, we're putting together things like live stream evaluations for creators who are already doing this. We are also going to be doing a few workshops as well on how to improve your streams or how to get started from the very beginning. So Friday, if you want to go check out my video that I did on Friday, we talked about how to set up a LinkedIn Live event and why that's important. So I also wanted to talk about how you can get started. Um, Most of the people that very much like G, who is tuning in, thank you so much. Um, she has she's wanted to say Monday, but she's still learning how to do this. She's had access to LinkedIn Live. Um, Vanessa, who and um, her associates who do a live stream together, they've been doing it for a while. Um, they took the leap on how to get started in doing how to do live streaming and production. Um, so it is a little bit of work to get started. It's like anything, you have to learn how to do a couple of steps to get going. So first of all, if you're going to be live streaming, whether it is here on LinkedIn or any other platform, um, first of all, you have to start out with a strategy, folks. So making sure what you want to talk about is probably going to be the best thing um, that you can do to get started. And for a lot of folks, um, strategy is probably overlooked a little bit. So everybody will tell you just get started. I do agree. Get started in a direction. That is perfectly fine to when people tell you that. But for me, like I said, having a strategy in place is pretty important because I think before you get started, you need to have a direction of what you actually want to do. Um, uh, and that's I don't think that's beyond the realm to ask people how to get started with when they're doing their shows. So have a strategy, of course, is in place. Um, and that can be anything as far as laying out an idea of what you want to do with your shows. So when you create a strategy, say, I'm only going to do 5 shows, right? We're just going to pick a nice round number. Um, Plan out content for 5 shows, right? Um, and that's the next thing that I would tell you to do. That if you're going to do live streaming, um, planning out your content is just as important as you doing your, excuse me, early morning, early morning. So planning out your content is pretty much how you're going to build a roadmap on how to do this. So, um, and it doesn't have to. It again, a few times, but agree, strategy is part of it, and having a direction is pretty important in what you want to do. And I'm going to use Vanessa and as a sort of an example of what I'm talking about. When you start out and you start using a strategy, does not mean that you have to actually stay directly with what you started out with. So, like the name of their show and what they're talking about has kind of developed. Um, and as you can see, when they go live, it actually used to be um, what LinkedIn ladies. I'm trying to remember. It was 3 L's or 4 L's, um, but the way they started out with is transitioned into something else. They've developed a style. They've worked together. They've built out something very unique. Um, and of course, that I haven't been started, and that's look, and that's why I say that there you go, loose and live, LinkedIn ladies, loose and live. Now they've transitioned into something else. they've actually developed a different style and a different brand that they've kind of gone on as they've gone along in their journey. But that was the whole part when they got started, though. That was they had a different strategy when they began, and they've kind of adjusted it as they've gone along. So that's why I tell a lot of folks, when you get started, have that strategy in place. And like I said, and it can take you in any form. Like I write down notes when I go to do things, um, as far as like strategy and shows that I want to talk about or things that I want to bring up, and then I'll do investigating. Yes, there it goes. So now we're the business brunch. Exactly. And they've gone out and they've changed, uh, again, the concept and the need that develops as you go along. That's some of the things that's going to happen. But again, if you don't get started, um, you don't know how it's going to develop in your journey. So that's why I tell a lot of folks, hey, get a strategy, turn the camera on, and then get started. And here's the thing, if it doesn't work for you, if you don't like it, if it doesn't turn out the way that you figure it can, you can always, like the ladies did, you can re strategize like what you want to do, or you can say altogether, this isn't working for me. Live streaming is not going to work. Okay. And that's cool. But you've already made the attempt, and that's what's important is that you got your strategy in place. You went out there, you did your shows, you didn't see like this was going to work long term. Okay, that's wonderful, because then you start learning the actual work that goes into it. That's why I tell anybody that's reaching out to me, or I'm helping coach how to do their live streams, is letting them know there's a lot of other things that go into it. So like for me, it is like doing what I'm doing now, where you see I have an overlay. Now this is how most interviews are going to look from the very beginning. Just plain camera views. And then you can learn to do different things and learn to develop other things as you go along. So you can create an overlay, something like this. This is part of production. These are things that you start going to learn as you go along. Now, for anybody who sees what I do here and some of the stuff that I've done, um, your ability to create starts to develop as well, just as much as you start to learn. So when you go out and DIY, that's why we teach courses on how to do these things. So we're putting courses together how to teach what, like, Restream will give you. I'm using Restream for those who don't know. Um, Restream will give you the ability to upload an overlay. So they have their own, which are something like this. These are preset, but somebody built these out. And it does what it says it does. It overlays the thing. So this is what you see on a regular Restream video. And then when you start to learn, and again, it's great. That's the next step in getting started and wanting to learn how to do is, you know, figure out figure out what you want to what you want to achieve by doing live streaming. So number one is going to figure out what your needs are. So, and I'm putting this in so you guys can see this. There you go. So as we go along here, you see this, guys. There we go. So figure out what your needs are. So if you're wanting to target folks in a particular market, so let's just say you're a I don't know. I'm going to use G again. So she just got her certification, become a UMAP coach, which is congratulations, by the way. That's a nice little accomplishment. But if she started to want to reach out to potential clients or reach out to people who might want to learn about what UMAP is and how to do this, she could actually start now targeting her live streams to do this. And in setting up a DIY using a simple tool like this with Restream or StreamYard, which I've done both, you start learning how to actually, use graphics and things like this in your shows. Now, it's not always It's not always necessary, but these are tools and functions that give you options. So like I've created these little stands here as we go along, our little banners that tells you have a strategy, plan out your content, and then figure out what your needs are. These will help you kind of develop now how much you have to invest. Now, yes, there is an investment, folks. Um, Restream and StreamYard both have a free plan, which you can use, no problem. But then we're on a platform where we talk about personal branding. So if you wanted to add your own brand into it, um, that is a part of it. This is a part of what it is. So if you're allowed to use your own branding, right, that's where you can add in things like this. So I have my own little branding thing that I can bring in here. And that's my little thing, my little logo. So I'm rarely awake. Absolutely. Check out the replay. That's part of it. So thank you stopping in anyway, Majida. I do appreciate it. It is, like I said, this is early, but this is made for folks on the East Coast and people across the pond so they can figure out how to do this. So as you go along and you start live streaming, um, and one of the things I wanted to talk about when I mentioned it is in the copy of the post is there a point that you need a remote producer or you need a producer of your show? So there are times where, again, in the example that I used of G, and she's starting to create a show, and she starts to build some traction, right? She's getting people tuning in. She's getting people actually reaching out. Hey, I want to learn how to use UMaps, right? And then it becomes that point of, are you in this to be a live streamer for, as a career, or are you using it to kind of like what I talked about in reaching out to a particular audience? So it's 11:30. Oh, in Ireland. Thank you so much. So there you go. Several months because of a personal branding part. Terrible. So we're using you as an example, G, of why this is important to get all this in place. So there becomes a point where you start now targeting an audience. You start actually getting people to reach out, wanting to learn about your services. And then you actually have a few convert to now becoming clients. Now, are you doing this to become a full-time live streamer? Most of the time, the answer is no. Most of the time, it's, hey, I started to do this because I wanted to reach out to clients or find a way to build your authority, which is what we teach you to do. Exactly what me and Russ and other creators do. We teach you how to do this to build your authority. Now, part of it, excuse me, folks, my glasses are bugging me right now. Okay, there you go. Part of this, though, is when you reach a certain point as a creator, do you start having to delegate? Important. That is huge. Because here's the thing, once you start getting clients, once you start getting people, and then once you start converting these folks to become clients, your plate starts getting full. But yet you still want to be able to reach out to people potentially, because a lot of these clients who onboard with your services, some of them are short term. Not all of them are long term clients. So you still want to be able to do this. That is, I think, at that point that you should really look into, and that's okay. But I think at that point, that is where um, you start looking at hiring a professional. Now, as a professional, there are people out there who are trained to build out shows, who handle the whole production side of what you do as a creator. Even myself have had a few people who have done things for me because, hey, I'm super busy sometimes, right? I'm trying to teach people how to live stream So not only being able to teach people how to live stream, but then having somebody to help you kind of take care of a lot of the work. Um, that is huge, and that is where you start looking at saying, you know what, I do need a professional producer in my life. Um, and your producer will do a lot of things for you, depending on what level of service you hire them for. From being just a showrunner. So somebody like, let's just say, if I had a showrunner here, that person would be handling all my comments. He would be handling, um, bringing in all the any overlays, any slides, anything that I have to do as far as the presentation going on. They would be the ones to bring this in. So that's where you have a professional take care of those things. Um, and not everybody can again afford a professional, but yes, remote production is key. Yes, exactly. um, because again, whether you know it or not, um, and here's a question: does Restream give you a number count if your stream um, 3 platforms? I could not see who is watching when I use StreamYard. Okay, here's the thing: it does, but if you're streaming here, if you're streaming here on LinkedIn, no, you will not get a count on LinkedIn. And I will tell you why. Because Restream, uh, and it is a grand thing. Let me tell you what, having a producer in your life, oh my God. Um, the few times that I've had a producer for me, mm, I never want to go back. Um, so I'm actually looking to get one in. But to to your question here, and let me finish answering it. Um, now will get return numbers if you're streaming to Facebook, to YouTube, to Twitch, and let's see. I believe that's it. I don't know if you get return. I don't think you get return feeds on Twitter. LinkedIn will not give you a return count of who's watching your streams simply because they don't have an open API. Now that kind of gets technical, but um, so just so you know what that means. Um, so an open API would have mean I would be able to see your comments, and then I could respond to your comments on a live. So if I type a message here and I say hello and I send it out, okay, I just sent out a hello request and it only went back to YouTube. It will not show on LinkedIn. So I know there's one person watching me on YouTube. There's nobody watching. I don't know how many people are watching me on LinkedIn. So that's the catch 22 about it, about streaming to LinkedIn through a device like this. You don't know. And that's okay. That you will get analytics after the show. So when you create an event through LinkedIn, they will give you analytics of how many people tuned in, despite how many people attended. So you'll be able to see a lot of things. So, excuse me. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, I know you're watching simply by asking people to comment. So that's why I ask people, hey, if you have a question, a comment, drop it down into the chat there. We will learn. I'm paying for it too. The branding thing is one reason. Also, number of recordings. I find it difficult to see who and how many are viewing, as he says. Now I understand why. So, and yes, you can watch on Netflix. So I got 6 people watching here on LinkedIn. Cool. But I wouldn't know that. Now, somebody watching on LinkedIn will see how many viewers are there. So if you're watching mobilely, you can see how many people are watching. I can't as the host. So I know that somebody's watching on YouTube because I am the YouTube person. You see that back there? That's my YouTube. So I know when I have a comment that I send back and forth, it shows up only on YouTube. LinkedIn does not. So hopefully that answers your question on whether or not on why the number count. So it's not nothing to do with StreamYard. It has nothing to do with Restream. It has nothing to do with Switcher Studio or any of the other preferred partners to stream with. You just cannot see the comments altogether. So there you go. Hopefully that answers that question. So, but having a producer, um, and there are different levels of production. So, like I said, you have a showrunner who just handles the in the moment technical stuff. So they're the ones who can switch up your overlay. So if I said, hey, I want to switch to this overlay afterwards, okay, that's what my showrunner would do. They would launch the intro. They would launch any stingers that I have. So if I do my stinger when I talk about my segment on my Friday show where I do this, so that would be the job of a remote producer to handle that, and or excuse me, a showrunner. Then you have an actual producer who does the build out. So they load up everything for you. They're able to find ways to book your guests. They do all these other things that help you as a host. They reach out to your guests. They get confirmations. They build out. So having a producer in your life is such a great asset. Um, and the prices vary depending on what your needs are. So it's just like anything. I mean, you can hire you can hire a consultant to just look at one part of your operations, or you can have them scope the whole thing. You can hire an auditor to come in and do these things. So there's different levels of production as well, and having somebody do everything. Then you can have somebody like an executive producer who handles the whole shebang. They handle all your bookings. They handle the guest work. They handle um, the actual production of the show. They handle all of the post production, any repurposing. So you get those kind of things. And so having having a producer in your life will actually change the scope of how you approach your live streams. Um, but again, I only speak on those terms there of when you reach those levels of creation because they become a standard part of how you produce your content. So for most people, again, when they start out, it is the DIY route. And it's okay to continue to actually do the DIY route if that is what is within your budget of operations. I don't recommend that. Um, and exactly, there's another one. I was about to talk on it. You beat me to it. Also, if you don't have the equipment required to run a live stream, hire a remote connection can be a solution, and you as a client can just call in via the cell. That's right. Um, and that's another thing. So, as a remote producer, and what you're talking about there, let's just say you don't have the equipment, or you actually don't have the internet bandwidth to kind of host, um, because these streams do tax your upload speeds. But if you have a producer who knows how to set up everything and handle that, then you just coming in and handling you as a guest and calling into your streams here, he can be anywhere in the world and have great internet and invite you in and control everything for what you do. And they walk you through the technical part. That's the wonderful thing. That's why having a remote producer is it is grand if you ever get to that point. Um, but it's an investment. It's like anything. If you're going to invest in yourself or invest in your business, uh, that's why a lot of business clients will invest in getting a producer because they want someone else to handle the production side of it. They want to just be able to come in and do the content. Um, and like I said, and that's part of it. Sometimes people, again, to G's point there, they might not want to handle the tech. There's some people that like, hey, I don't want to handle it. It's a lot. Let me just hire a professional to do that. That is what we do. That's how I've made a living. That's how I continue to make a living, is to become a producer for other folks. And whether I handle it in small pieces, part of their production, or I handle the whole operation, Like I said, there is a need for both. There when you're getting started, or even here's the thing, if you start the DIY route and you start learning that you like the technical part of it and you start getting better at it and some of the creation part of it, then it becomes part of your operations. And again, the only time at that point that you should scale is when it becomes too much of a task to keep up with. And that's the thing, when you start getting more and more people, clients, and people reaching out, hey, when you scale your business, that's the same thing. You need to start delegating certain parts of what you do, even in remote production or even in what I do as a creator. So there are points that you have to do that. And that is why I recommend you taking an evaluation. So if you go over to the website, what I was telling you about, thepiratesyndicate.com, and what we do over there is we do two things. We teach you the DIY route, or we kind of give you a layout of handling everything. And we do certain services, and we want to help you, educate you in one way or the other, either in handling for you all the way and finding in handling your whole production, or teaching you how to do it on your own. And that's the magical part of what we do over there. And they it was absolutely the fun part is at least and it is. So that is why me and Russ have put together, and we're developing more and more courses, because we are teaching not only the technical part, but I'm also teaching how to integrate the creative part of what you do as a live stream creator. So we get a full assessment of what it is that you do, and it's it. Scale is exactly what you do. So it takes time. Like I said, you get to that point where it is, hey, let's just say, for example, I've done 25 shows. Now I'm getting clients who know me and they see me all the time. Um, I don't have the time now during the week to handle the whole production of everything that I do. Well, that's part where you can now start delegating some of those things. So if it's, hey, can you guys handle like my guest bookings and all these other things? Cool. That's part of the services that we offer. Um, and yes, and there's part of it is and reaching out to somebody and getting them started down that path of how to create a live stream and actually how to do this. So we teach things like camera presence. We teach you how to actually use video to reach clients. How to do again. That is what we do there at the Pirate Syndicate, and we're building this out. And it is going to be a helpful resource for other people who want to get started. Um, and we do offer a few free courses, and we do offer paid courses that you go there and learn how to do. Or, like you said, book a strategy session with us. We get you started. We can lay out a plan, and whether or not um, you need a producer, or whether or not you can go the DIY route yourself. We have a thing what we call the 10 considerations, and if you go over there and you can check it out, I'll drop the link in there for anybody who wants to learn. But once you've taken, excuse me, the 10 considerations there, um, it'll walk you through, and it'll email you an assessment of like, hey, these are probably courses that would be great for you to take, or it'll give us the idea that maybe you probably need a producer. Um, and it kind of gives you that, well, you can book a discovery call and learn exactly what services we can offer, and we break it down from there. And that's the cool part of it. So I will actually drop the link down here in the comments as well, apart from where this is. So you guys won't be able to see this just yet. It'll take a few minutes to get to you. Those on YouTube, you should be able to see it already. Um, you'll be able to see the link there, but you can check it out there in the comments. It'll let you know like what you can actually sign up for. And hey, we're just here to help you guys out. And that's a big part of what we get to do here every single day as live stream creators. So if you wanted to check it out, the link now is available for you in the comments. So you can see it there, pull it out, piratesyndicate.com. Go through, take the 10 considerations, figure out whether or not you or how we can get you started, because then we can also plan out a coursework for you to get started and doing it on your own. Um, you do have to get an eye patch. So thank you, friend, for stopping in, Dr. Yellow. Appreciate you, man. I will reach out to you sooner than later. There are three things that I want to get in contact with you with, my friend. So you have a good Monday morning. Um, be safe out there on the streets, guys, and then everybody else tuning in. Thank you so much. But man, it's been a wonderful way to get started on a Monday morning. I do appreciate everybody who's tuned in, guys. And please feel free to reach out to me or my partner, Mr. Russ Johns, and we can help you get started down that path. Hopefully, you found this pretty useful. There will be a few other topics that I will be covering in the upcoming weeks, and I will be having on guests to kind of help you learn how to do this and walk you through, or just to learn how to learn the journey itself. That's part of it for me, is also educating people on the journey and how you can get started with this. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. I do appreciate you guys, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Monday morning, or if you're across the way, it's closer to afternoon. I do appreciate you tuning in and taking the time to be here with me. Again, you guys are the lifeblood of what I do here, and without you, there's none of this. So I wanted to appreciate you all. So until Friday, I'll be back Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. You have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. So until then, thank you, Anthony, for tuning in. I do appreciate you. Um, you guys have a good one. Goodbye, everybody.